Hello everyone, welcome back. Here for yoga again. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for checking out the first video. Got some nice feedback. I appreciate everything that everyone sent and just appreciate you watching the video. We've got another more beginner yoga class that's going to be a little bit more intense this time. So again, just take it at your own pace. Do what feels right for your body. There is nothing that is required for you to do other than to connect with your breath. So just keep that in mind as you move through the practice today. So to start off, we're going to begin on our backs. So if you want to just lay down, bend your knees. Just your knees drop in towards one another. And you can take one hand and place it on your heart, and take the other hand, place it on your belly. We're just going to take a few breaths to center ourselves. So allow yourself to breathe in and out through the nose. Not needing to change anything about your breath, but just become aware of it. And I always like to start my practice with a little bit of centering. You know, usually there's so much going on in the day, so many things to do, that it's nice to take a moment to just kind of settle your thoughts, settle your body before you begin to practice. So just so you can really be fully present on the mat. So just a few more relaxed breaths in and out. Giving yourself permission to just kind of set aside any of the craziness of your day. And focus on what you need in this moment. And then we'll just release the hands from the belly and from the chest, bring them down to the floor next to your hips. We're going to take both knees, bring them into the chest, and then as you inhale, press the bottoms of the feet up towards the ceiling. So gentle stretch into your hamstrings. It's okay to have a bend in the knees if those hamstrings are a little tight right now. We're going to start just by flexing and pointing the toes. Get the ankle joints warmed up. If there's any popping or cracking, don't worry about it. It's usually a good sign. You can circle around, taking the feet in one direction, and then circle and take the feet in the other direction. All right, coming back to stillness with the feet. Let's take the knees, bend them into the chest. And as you inhale, press the bottoms of the feet up towards the ceiling again. Feel your spine flatten out against the floor as you do that. Exhale, bend the knees into the chest. Inhale as you press the feet up. Exhale, knees come in. This time as you inhale, feel free to take the arms all the way up overhead. Backs of the hands can touch the floor. You can bend the elbows here if you need to. And then as the knees come into the chest, the hands lower back down. Lifting the legs and the arms. And taking them back down. Just two more times here, moving with your breath, taking your time. Go whatever speed feels right for you. And then as the hands come down to the floor, we're going to keep the hands on the floor for a moment. Press the bottoms of the feet back up towards the ceiling. And now take your fingertips and reach them up towards the toes. As you exhale, I want you to squeeze your navel back towards your spine and try to lift the head and the shoulders up off the floor. Now, if this is a little intense on your neck, feel free to take a hand or both hands to provide a little bit of support behind the head. And then lower back down. Exhale, squeeze again and lift. Inhale as you lower back down. Exhale, squeeze and lift and lower down. One more time. Really just warming up your core here. Squeeze and lift and lower back down. From here, I want you to keep a little bend to the knees. Keep your arms reaching up towards the ceiling. We're going to do a little dead bug pose here. So with your left leg, I want you to slowly start to lower your left leg towards the floor. And as you do that, reach your right arm up overhead. Exhale as you bring it back together. Inhale, this time right leg lowers, left arm reaches up, and bring it back together. So just opposite hand, opposite foot, reaching back and lifting up. Again, just focusing on warming up your core a little bit here. This also gets both hemispheres of your brain working, right? Anytime you do cross-body stuff, it's really good for your brain, for your memory. Let's take one more time each side. So left foot, right hand, and come back up, and then right foot, and left hand. Rising back up. Take those hands, bring them around the backs of the thighs, and rocking your knees in towards your chest. I want you to sit up just a little bit, coming up onto the spine. We're gonna rock back and forth a few times. So crown of the head to tailbone. You get a little bit of momentum going here. If this is not pleasant for your back, just come all the way up to seated. We're just gonna rock it up one more time until you come all the way up, sitting up nice and tall, lengthening your spine. And then relax. Let's take it into a table pose. So moving onto your hands and your knees. Let's spread the fingers wide. Knees go about underneath the sit bones. Tops of the feet come flat to the floor. And we're just gonna start by taking your hips and swinging them over to the right side, and then swinging them back over to the left side. So just a little back and forth movement with the hips. Maybe noticing little stretches in the side body and the low back as you take those hips side to side. Taking this a little bit deeper, this time as we swing the hips over to the right side, I want you to take the hips back towards your right heel like you're coming into a child's pose. Swing the hips over to the left side, making a big circle, and come back into your table. So just big circles, right to left, coming back to center. A couple times around, really stretching into your side body as you take it back. So circling around one more time on this right side, and then switching and swinging your hips over to the left side, circling right and coming back to center. Take it around a few times. So it's exhaling as your hips go back, inhaling as you rise back into table. Last one here. Come back into your table pose. And from here, we're gonna inhale, just take the right leg and extend it behind you. You can gently point out through the toes if you'd like. Roll the shoulders back. Feel your navel draw back towards your low back, and try to press down into the floor so you're active through the shoulders and not dumping into them at all. On the exhalation, we're going to take the right knee and draw it in towards the chest, a little rounding through the spine. Forehead goes towards the knee. Inhale as you extend the right leg back. Exhale as you round and draw it in. Inhale to reach it back. Exhale as you round, so firing up the core as you pull that knee in. Inhale as you reach it back. If you want to make this a little bit more challenging, you can reach the opposite hand out and draw the elbow towards the knee as you squeeze it in. If this is a little too much today, just place that hand back on the mat and focus on the lower half of the body. One more time as we exhale, inhale to reach it out, and bring the hand back down, take the knee down to the mat, and we'll just switch it over to the other side. So left leg reaches back, point out through the ball mound of that foot, strong in the shoulders, pressing down into the hands, navel draws back. As you exhale, round the spine, squeeze the left knee in towards the chest, forehead goes towards the knee. Inhale as you reach it out. Exhale to pull it in. Inhale to reach it out. All right, just a few more times here. Move with your breath. If you want to add that right arm in, you can. If things are feeling a little bit wobbly, take the toes on the right foot and curl them under, just to help with balance. Last time here, inhale, reach it out. Exhale, hand comes down, knee comes down. Now if your wrists need a little bit break, feel free to curl the toes under, sit back on your heels, just shake out the wrists a little bit. Maybe the shoulders need a little relaxing too. You can always bring the backs of the hands together and just gently press them together so you get a little stretch going in the opposite direction. And then we come back into our table. Curl those toes under. We're going to press into the hands, press into the toes, lift your knees, take yourself back into that downward facing dog. So you want to spread your fingers wide, press into the thumb and the pointer finger. Knees can softly bend, spread the toes, soften the heels towards the mat so you start to stretch out the hamstrings. Now as you do that, let your hips swing side to side. So you can feel a little stretch in the side body. Feel the calves and the hamstrings start to open up a little bit more. Just back and forth a few times with the hips. And then come back to stillness in that down dog. You can even lift up on the toes if you want. Exhale, soften your heels down towards the mat. And on your next exhalation, walk the feet back to the top of the mat. Find forward fold here. So feet hips distance apart, toes pointing forward, knees lining up with the toes. Let yourself hang. Remember, you want a little bit of a bend to your knees here, so your belly is actually touching your thighs. No need to straighten the legs and cause all that rounding in your low back. So get a little bend there, let your head hang, then you can straighten the legs a little bit, keeping your belly close to your thighs. Take another breath here, and then hands to the shins. Inhale, press up halfway, flatten out your spine, keep the back of your neck long, and then exhale and forward fold. Take a deep bend into your knees. Use the legs as you rise all the way up to standing. Take the arms up overhead. Let the palms touch. Bring the hands into the heart center. Now standing here in Tadasana, hands into the heart center, I want you to just sway side to side. So go right to left. And as you sway right to left, I want you to just feel the bottoms of your feet pressing down into the floor. Kind of feel the shifting of the weight from the inside of the foot to the outside edge of the foot. And then come back to stillness, and we'll go heel toe. So you don't have to actually lift your toes or your heels up off the ground. Just shift your weight back and forth. And then allow the weight to come to settle right about the arch of your foot. So not all the weight back in the heels, not too far forward into the toes. Spread the toes wide if you can. Relax the shoulders down. We're going to inhale, circle the shoulders forward, bring them up to your ears. Exhale, open the heart and lower them down. So circling forward and opening back just a few times around. Gently squeeze into the thighs as you do this, because the tendency as you roll your shoulders back is to press your belly button forward and arch your back. You don't want to strain anything, so squeeze into the inner thighs to keep your low back safe. Take it around one more time. And then we'll switch and go in the opposite direction. So circling forward, just a few times around. Circle around one more time. All right, relax the shoulders, feet hips distance apart. Inhale, let's bring the arms up overhead. As you exhale, bend at your knees with a long spine, hinge at your hips, and come back into that forward fold. Belly can touch the thighs, legs straighten. Inhale, hands to the shins, rise up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your hands all the way on the ground. Bend your knees to get them there. Step your feet back into a plank. So heels reach back towards the wall. Your hips are going to be about shoulder height. Squeeze into your core. And just like in your table, you are strong in your shoulders. We weren't dumping into the shoulder sockets. You want to do the same thing in your plank pose. Remember, anytime you're in plank, knees can always come down to the ground, still staying active in your core. As you exhale, we're going to hug the elbows in close to your body. Narrow push-up, take it all the way down to the floor. Tops of the feet go flat. Today we're going to walk the hands out just a little bit wider, coming up onto your fingertips. Inhale, lift your chin and your chest. Try to really engage through the back muscles. So if you lifted your hands up off the floor, you'd still continue to stay lifting. And then to go just a little bit deeper, press down into those fingertips and see if you can rise up just a little bit higher. Be mindful of your spine here. Only go to where you need to be. Exhale as you lower it back down. Slide those hands underneath your shoulders. Curl your toes under. We're just going to press the floor away, take it into a plank. And then lift your sit bones up and back, downward facing dog. Take a nice breath here in down dog. Big breath in, long breath out. You can even breathe it out through the mouth if you're starting to feel some heat build up in the body. Now, option here to stay in down dog. If you want to take this a little bit deeper, take your left leg and reach it up behind you, extending out through the left foot. So 3-point dog here, 3-legged dog. And for those of you who want to go even a little bit deeper, you can roll that left hip on top of the right hip, so opening out to the side. Bend your left knee, but keep the knee lifting up towards the ceiling. And then extend the left leg back up. Square the hips towards the mat. Take the left foot back down to the floor. Knees come down to the floor into a table pose. And from your table, we're going to take that left foot and step it forward in between the hands, coming into a low lunge. So if you've got blocks or books or a chair from last time, feel free to grab those and place them underneath your hands. Top of that right foot goes flat to the floor. Both hands come onto the left thigh. We're going to inhale, lift up. Reach the arms up overhead, turn the pinkies towards one another. Exhale, sink down towards that left leg. Keep active through the bottoms of the feet. So press into that left heel, press into the top of the right foot. Give that little squeeze to the inner thighs. And as you exhale, lower the hands back down to the floor or the blocks. Curl the right toes under. We're going to lift the right knee up off the floor this time. Keep reaching back through the heel. See if you can roll the shoulders back and press the heart forward just a little bit. Strong through that back leg. Now press down into that left heel. See if you can take some of the weight out of the hands. Maybe all of it, maybe none of it. Just give it a little try. See if you can put more of the weight into that left leg. And then lower back down. Take your left foot, step it back, downward facing dog. Now remember, you can stay in down dog. You're also welcome to come into table or child's pose. If you want that deeper side body stretch, we're going to lift the right leg up into a 3-point dog again. Reach out through the foot, strong through the leg. It's okay if this knee is bent a little bit, but really press through the leg. Deeper if you want by stacking the right hip on top of the left, bending at the knee. And inhale, stretch that right leg out, square the hips up. Right foot comes down. Knees come down to the mat for table. Take that right foot and help it forward into your low lunge. Top of the left foot goes flat, both hands onto the right thigh. Inhale as you rise up. Exhale and sink down. Arms can come up, pinkies turn towards one another. Squeeze into the legs. Always be mindful of your low back. And then as you exhale, hands come down to the floor. Frame that front foot. Grab the blocks if you need them. Curl your left toes under and lift the knee. If this is just too much today, keep the knee on the ground. And eventually you'll get here. Reach back through that heel. Roll the shoulders back. Open the heart. Take another breath here. And then as you exhale, we're going to take this left leg, step it forward, and come into your forward fold, top of the mat. Now as you're in this forward fold, feel free to take your hands and bring them to the back of the calves and just press your hands gently into the calves to help yourself fold a little bit deeper. And then from this fold, I want you to bend the knees, keep your belly on your thighs, and then inhale and straighten, still keeping that belly connected to the thighs. So you're going to bend, feel the hamstrings release, straighten the legs, and feel the hamstrings engage. Just take that a few times, lowering and lifting. All right, one more time. Bend the knees deep. Release your hands from the backs of the legs. Use the legs to stand all the way up. Take the arms, bring them up overhead. Hands come back to the heart center. All right, take a moment here. Find your breath, find your centering. Just feel the bottoms of the feet pressing down into the floor. Stand up tall so the shoulders relax. Just check in with yourself, see how you're feeling. All right, from here, we keep the right foot where it's at. I want you to take the left foot and step it back towards the back side of your mat. So as you step it back, those left toes are going to face out to the long side of your mat. Your right toes are going to continue to point towards the short top end of your mat. And you're just going to bend your right knee. So setting up for a warrior two pose. I want you to take your hips and turn them so they start to match this long side of the mat. If it's really tight across your hips, take your left toes and turn them a little bit more towards that top left corner of your mat. That's just going to help things in your hips. Chest and hips try to open to the long side. Reach the arms out in opposite directions. If the shoulders are tight, turn the palms up towards the ceiling and then turn your gaze and try to look over those right fingertips. So as you're doing this, you want to look down at your right knee. See if you can see your big toe just on the inside of that right knee. If you can't, chances are your knee has dropped down towards the middle of the mat. And you want to try to keep that knee open. If you need to keep your hand there, then put it there. Press into the pinky toe side of that foot. Squeeze through the back of this left leg. Extend out through your fingertips. And then as you inhale, straighten your right leg. Turn your toes to the long side of the mat. Hands come onto the hips. Bend the knees a little bit. And with a long spine, as you exhale, take it into a forward fold. So folding over, hands can come down to the floor. If you've got your blocks and you want to grab those too, or a chair to put your hands on, that works. Press out through the bottoms of the feet. Press into the fingertips and feel your spine lengthen a little bit. So legs are really active and strong here. As you exhale, you are welcome to fold deeper into that stretch, pressing your palms into the floor, or maybe even reaching the hands out to the ankles. One thing to keep in mind here as you're in your wide leg forward fold is that as soon as our legs go wide and we fold over, we tend to rock back into our heels and dump all this weight into the back side of the body. I want you to try to shift your weight forward a little bit so you feel most of the weight in the middle of your foot, right in the arch of your foot. So let's stay here for another few breaths. Breathe in and breathe out. Inhaling, feeling the energy rise up from the inner arches up through your inner thigh, and exhaling, feel the energy move down from your sit bones and into the pinky toe side of the foot. To come out, we're going to walk our hands underneath the shoulders, bend your knees again. Take the hands onto the hips. If you need to press your hands into your thighs to help lift up, that's okay too. Otherwise, hands on the hips, squeeze into the back sides of the legs, rise all the way up. And we'll take it into warrior two on the other side. So left toes are going to turn towards the short edge of your mat. Right foot's going to stay about where it's at unless you've got tight hips, and then we'll talk about that in a minute. Bend your left knee. Look down for that big toe. You should be able to see it on the inside of that left knee. If you can't see it, your knee's probably dropping down, so keep pressing it open. Arms reach out. Hips and chest try to open towards that long edge of the mat. If that's a little too tight on the hips, remember, take your back toes, your right toes, and turn them on a diagonal towards the left foot. Palms can turn up, gaze looks out over those left fingertips. Squeeze gently into the back side of the body. Try to unclench the toes. Pull those shoulder blades together to open the heart. And then inhale, straighten the front leg. Hands come back to the heart center. Turn your toes, again facing the long side of the mat. Turn your heels in on a diagonal, toes out on a diagonal. So you're shortening your stance just a little bit here. We're going to exhale, bend the knees, and sit down into a goddess squat. So as you do this, you want to try to keep your knees about in line with your toes. Your chest may dip down a little bit, that's okay. Just try to avoid folding all the way over. Try to keep your chest open and pressing forward so your shoulders roll back and your heart presses forward. I like to lift up my toes here just because it helps me keep my knees open, so do whatever feels right here. Strong through the back side of the body. Gentle squeeze to help open everything up here. And then as you inhale, straighten those legs out. Turn the heels back out. We're just going to take our feet, step it back up to the top of the mat. And then from here, take your left foot, step it back. Shorter stance this time as you step back. Not quite as wide as that warrior two. Your left toes are going to continue to point towards that top left corner of the mat. You want to try to get your heel down onto the floor. We're going to bend this right knee. You still want to be able to see that big toe just inside the right knee. Twist your hips so that your left hip comes forward a little bit. And then take the arms up overhead. Warrior one. Pinkies turn towards one another. Legs are really active and strong here. So press down into those feet. As you inhale, we're going to straighten the right leg. Exhale and just hinge a little bit at the hips. Keep your spine nice and long. You're going to start to feel a stretch into that right hamstring. So we're going to do this a couple times. We're going to add on a little bit here, but you stop and stay where it feels best for you. So if this is as far as you want to go with this stretch today, then by all means, this is where you stay. Inhale, lift it back up. Bend that right knee. Come back into your warrior one. Press down through that left heel. Inhale, straighten the right leg again. As you exhale, this time take your arms wide. And see if you can lower just a little bit more. Now as you fold, try to avoid having that left hip open out to the side. You want to continue to have it press forward. And then stand it back up, bend into that right knee. One more time, inhale, straighten the front leg. Exhale, arms go wide. Maybe this is where you want to stop. If you feel like you've got a little bit more room to go, let yourself fold over that right leg. Fingertips can come down to the blocks, the floor. You can put them on your shin, wherever you find the best balance, the best stretch here. Again, think about that left hip. Don't let it open out to the side. Continue to press your left hip forward. And then we're going to bend the right knee, step the left foot up to the right foot, and come all the way back to standing. Arms can come up, palms together, hands at the heart center, and just step the right leg back. So shorter stance again for that warrior one. Right heel down, right toes point towards that top right corner of your mat. Bend your left knee, look for your big toe. Press down into the bottom of that right foot. It's okay if the heel is lifted a little bit. Just try to keep your right hip coming forward. Inhale, arms go up overhead. Turn the pinkies towards one another. Strong legs here. Not a whole lot happening in the upper body, but very strong through the lower half of the body. So press down into the bottoms of those feet. As you inhale, straighten the front leg, and exhale, just reach it forward a little bit. So a hinge at the hips, long spine, just starting to wake up that left hamstring. Inhale to stand it back up, and bend the knee back to your warrior one. Keep the shoulders soft. Inhale, straighten the front leg. Exhale, hinge at the hips. This time arms go wide. Maybe folding a little bit further. Check that right hip. Make sure it's pointing forward and not opening out to the side. Inhale as you come back up. Bend that front knee again. Warrior one. Last time, inhale, straighten that front leg. Exhale, you can stop wherever you want to along this forward fold. Taking it all the way over if you would like. As you fold over, your spine is naturally going to round a little bit, so don't worry about that. It's extreme rounding or any pain that you want to back out of the stretch. Let's stay here for another breath. And then we're going to bend that left knee, step the right foot forward into our forward fold. So if you're not in a forward fold, if you didn't go quite as far as I did in that fold that we're just in, take yourself down into a forward fold. And then hands onto the shins. Inhale as you rise up halfway. Exhale, fold again. Bend the knees, place the hands on the mat. Step your feet back into plank again. Long spine. Hold it here for just a breath. And then take your right knee down to the mat, just underneath your sit bone. Step your right hand a little bit closer to the center of your mat. And then with your left foot, turn your left foot out to the side. So you've got your big toe side of the foot on the floor. You can even press the entire bottom of the foot to the floor if you'd like. Take your right foot, instead of keeping it directly underneath your left leg, kick it behind you just a little bit. Take that left arm, sweep it up towards the ceiling. So side plank here. Lift up through that left side waist. If this bothers your shoulder to have your arm reaching up towards the ceiling, place your hand on your hip or around to your low back. And for those wanting to go a little bit deeper, lift your left foot up off the ground. Press the bottom of the foot away. Crown of the head reaches the opposite direction. That left hand can be up if you prefer it there. Press down into the right fingertips, draw the shoulder away from the ear, and then lower the left foot down. Take your left hand down to the mat. Step yourself into a table, and then lift the knees back, plank. From here, we take that left knee down, step your left hand in just a little bit. Turn your right toes now so that either the inside edge of that big toe side of the foot is on the floor, or the bottom of the foot is on the floor. Kick that left foot behind you just a little bit for balance. Inhale, right arm comes up towards the ceiling. Your face can look up towards the ceiling if you want. It can also look out to the side or down towards that left hand. Lift up through your right hip. Option here to lift the right foot and press away from you. Crown of the head reaches the opposite direction. And then as you exhale, lower the foot down. Take the hand all the way back down into your table. From table, big toes together, knees go wide. Exhale, press it back into a child's pose. Forehead comes to the floor, or feel free to stack the hands on top of one another, grab a block, or even just rest your elbows and let your head hang. Two more big breaths here. We're going to walk the hands underneath the shoulders. Use the hands to help lift the torso up. As you come up, we're going to come to seated. So I'd like for you to grab, if you've got one handy, blanket or blocks or a pillow, cushion, anything like that will work. We're going to sit down on that blanket. If you don't usually use a blanket in your practice, you'll probably be okay without it. We're going to start with the legs stretched out ahead of us. And with your left knee, I want you to just bend it and cross that left foot to the outside of your right knee. Now, if your hips are tight or you've got knee issues, you might find that keeping your left foot to the inside of the knee is where it needs to be. That's fine. Let it stay there. If you've got a little more space to work with, let that foot cross to the outside. Now, if you're really experienced with yoga, you do this all the time, you can take that right knee and bend it and bring it over towards your left hip. So you've got your legs stacked on top of one another. That's going to increase the stretch in that right hip as well. So you decide the best place for your legs. We're going to inhale and take the right arm up by your ear. As you exhale, once you take your left hand, sweep it around behind you and find the fingertips on the floor. Inhale, sit up a little bit taller, maybe twist your belly using the aid of that left hand to the left side a little bit more, and then let your right elbow or right hand come down to that left knee. So elbow to the knee takes you a little bit deeper than hand to the knee. Sit up tall one more time, and as you exhale, continue to twist towards that left side. So you're feeling not just your shoulders move, but you're feeling your belly and your hips shift just a little bit as well. Now you can take your head to look towards your left shoulder as long as that feels comfortable for your head and shoulders. One more big breath in. And then as you exhale, release the twist. Come back to facing the front of the mat. We're going to uncross the legs, stretch them out again. Sit up tall. And then this time, right foot is going to lift up. If tight hips, tight knees, or other issues going on, keep that right foot on the floor to the inside of your left knee. If it's accessible, right foot can go to the outside of that left knee. And if your hips are feeling a little bit open today, you can bend that left knee so the heel comes back towards the right hip. So again, sitting up tall, this time left arm reaches up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, sweep the right arm around behind you so you're getting your belly to move, using your core strength to twist to the right side. Right fingertips find the floor. Inhale, sit up tall again, and as you exhale, either left hand to the right knee or left elbow to the right knee. Sit up tall as you breathe in. Exhale and deepen your stretch as you breathe out. Maybe turning that head to the right side. And as you sit and breathe here, you might find I tell you to deepen as you breathe in, or deepen as you breathe out, sorry. You might find that you can't go any deeper. That's okay. You don't have to physically force yourself into the pose. Maybe just allow yourself to soften mentally into the pose. So if you're done twisting, if your body isn't going to twist any further, let it stay there and just enjoy where you're at. On your next exhalation, we're going to release the twist, come back to facing front of the mat. Just uncross those legs. You can move your blanket off to the side. We're going to lay down on our back. Knees are going to be bent right now, bottoms of the feet on the floor. And you want to have your heels just about underneath your knees. So you don't have to be able to touch them, but you kind of want to be close. Shoulders are down, palms gently pressing down into the floor. We're going to take this into a bridge lift, so it's important that you keep your face looking up towards the ceiling and not turning your head side to side. So as you exhale, we're going to tuck the tailbone under, feel the low back press down into the floor, and then press into your heels and begin to peel the back side of the body up off the floor. Now it doesn't have to come up very high, just press into the feet, lift as high as what works for you, and then lower it back down. Take it down nice and slow. Exhale, tuck the tailbone under, press into the heels, press into the back side of the body, lift yourself up. Inhale as you slowly lower down. So exhaling to lift, inhaling to lower. If your shoulders will allow it, as you lift the hips up, you can take the arms all the way up overhead. And as the hips come down, take the hands back down to the floor. So similar to what we did at the beginning of class, only this time the hips are lifting and lowering with the arms rather than the legs lifting and lowering. Let's just take one more lift and lower using your breath. Taking it all the way down. Take a moment once you've touched everything down. Feel your neck and shoulders soften, and then allow the knees to come into the chest. Hands wrap around the shins, just rock side to side. If it's comfortable for you, open the knees wide and bring the bottoms of the feet towards one another. You may be able to slide the hands down the shins towards the ankles and just gently pull the ankles in as you press the knees away. So a reclined cobbler's pose. Shoulders should stay connected to the ground. And then draw the knees back together. Take the legs, extend them out. One leg and then the other. Making your way into Shavasana, corpse pose. So let your toes turn away. Feet are going to be a little bit wider than hips distance. Hands come to the floor, palms face up, and gently tuck those shoulder blades. You're welcome to keep the knees bent and just let them drop in on one another like we did at the beginning of class. And you also, if you've got that blanket close by, feel free to cover yourself with the blanket so that you stay warm. The whole idea of Shavasana is that we give our bodies a chance to relax for the movement and the breath that we've just done to sort of integrate. And so if you're busy thinking about staying warm or how much longer it's going to be before you can sit up because you're uncomfortable, then we don't get the whole benefit from Shavasana. So get yourself in a comfortable place. Let your eyes close. Take a moment to connect with your breath. So feel that breath come in. Feel the breath go out. No need to change anything about how you're breathing. All we're doing is bringing our awareness to the breath. And just systematically take your mind through your body. Think about relaxing all the muscles in your face, including your jaw and your forehead. And feel your neck and your shoulders soften. Let your arms be heavy. And you can relax your chest. Feel your belly soften. Feel your hips relax. Letting go through your legs, through your feet. You're welcome to stay here for as long as you'd like. All you have to do is press pause or just continue to lay here, and you can sit up whenever you're ready. For those of us ready to start moving, let your fingers and your toes begin to wiggle a little bit. Take a nice deep breath in, long breath out, this time through the mouth. And then let's start to bend at the knees. Take the bottoms of the feet to the floor. And when you're ready, roll the knees to one side, roll your torso to the side. Maybe pause in the fetal position for a moment. And then press down into the hands. Lift yourself up to seated. Find any comfortable seated position. Or once you're there, just sit up tall, close your eyes, bring your fingertips to the floor. Give yourself a moment to ground. Right, when we ground, when we reconnect, this connects us in with our Mula Bandha, which is also our place of safety and security. So let yourself feel that sense of safety rise up in you. And then slowly turn the palms away from the body. And as you inhale, bring the arms up overhead. Let your palms touch. Bring your hands into your heart center. May you be well. may you be happy, and may you be peaceful. Namaste. Thank you again for practicing with me today. Feedback is always welcome. Everyone stay healthy, stay safe, and hopefully we'll meet on the mat again soon. Thanks.